Hello, everybody. I'm back with a few more interview questions for Kubernetes. Some of these questions I've been asked myself or I have asked others. Some of them are just made up by me because they make good interview questions. These questions come from a GitHub repo that I have, and I'm going to put a link to that below. So if you prefer a written version of these questions and answers, you can get them from the repo. All right, let's get started. The first question today is, how can you incorporate an SSL certificate into Kubernetes? The answer to that is SSL certificates are no different than any other secrets. You can create a secret through YAML file. Part of the data section would be the content of the secrets. Let's say there's an SSL certificate or SSH private key or what have you. It doesn't really matter. It could be anything. Once you have the secret defined, then that secret can be mounted onto a container as a volume or as an environment variable. And then you can do it whatever you would do in your code for the container. So that's how you can have a SSL certificate as part of your infrastructure that can be used by any resource that needs to use it. Next question is, what is a context and how can you switch between them? So context is basically a connection between your local host and an authenticated connection to a cluster and namespace, right? So let's say that you're working on, for example, for me, I connect to Kubernetes cluster at work, but from the same machine, I also connect to my personal UK cluster that I build for these videos, and I can switch between them so that I don't have to have this elaborate thing to do when I'm switching between clusters that I'm working on. So there's a tool for this called kubectx. It's very easy to install. It's open source, very easy. If you use that, you can, if you run kubectx, it will tell you all the context you have defined in your kubeconfig file, and you can choose between them as you see please. So that's a good way, easy way to switch between contexts of different clusters that you're working on. Next question. The interviewer might ask you what's a tool called k9s, or he or she might give you a scenario where k9s is needed. K9s is a really, really awesome tool. It's command line, so all you have to do is install on your local host. And if we have the context already authenticated, if you type k9s, it gives you a menu-driven thing where you can get to logs, you can get to node pools, whatever you were working on, you can work on it through that graphical interface based on text. So you don't need any browser or anything, but it is fantastically powerful. So you have to be careful because you can make a lot of changes to that. You can, but it's also extremely powerful for your use. So you can do a lot of things with k9s that you could do otherwise. It would take a long time to do. Last question today is, how can you get a list of available resource types? So in Kubernetes, you have pods, you have deployments, you have daemon sets, you have secrets, you have config maps. All of these are a type of a resource, right? They come on default from any version of Kubernetes, right? So how do you know which ones you have? Generally, I think there might be 30, 40 of them or something like that. If you have CRDs, custom resource definitions, you can add to them. But as is, if you just want to know what resource types I have that I can create through kubectl or YAML file, what have you, a simple command, kubectl API-resources, gives you all those available resource types that you have. It also gives you the short name. So for example, if you are creating a config map, you don't have to type the whole word config map. You can just say kubectl create cm and so on and so forth. So that's the way to get the list of available resource types that you have on your cluster. I hope you found this video useful. If you do, please like and subscribe. It helps me with the YouTube algorithm. And I will see you in the next Kubernetes interview questions video.